All right, welcome back for another episode, the final one of the year as 2025 comes to a close. I'm here with Logan from the Logan Show, in case you're unfamiliar with him, and we are here talking about and reflecting on what a year it has been. And Logan, what's going on with you, man? You're in the middle of a remodel, aren't you?
Yep, redoing the studio. You can see, well, it's in the room I'm in right now. You can't see it, but right in front of me, everything looks a lot different than it used to. So for everybody that watches this will hopefully, this should be the last time that my framing looks like this.
Yeah, the last sighting of the classic square background office look that you obtained over the course of the last couple of years, I guess.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff behind me will be gone. Some of it will stay, and of course, I got to keep the "Please don't do coke in the bathroom" sign. I mean, that's I will say, out of anything back here, that has got me the most comments by far. There's been quite a few people that have commented on that sign. So
yeah, that was. I mean, I was so mad when you got that sign like 2 years ago now, 3 years, however long it's been, and I was like, I cannot believe that I didn't think of that. Just because touring the country, it's like you see that sign all over the place in so many bathrooms. And I remember I had never seen it before until I started touring, and I was like, the hell is that about? It just became kind of like a running joke thing. So yeah, I was kind of jealous whenever you got that sign.
yeah, so the sign has to stay. But I mean, these PlayStation lights behind me, I mean, good God, they don't even fit the vibe. But I had the smoking rooster, but it like sparked and left like burn marks on my wall. So there's like scorch marks. So that had to go in the garbage. And this is the only thing I could use to replace it. So
Yeah, every time you tell me that story, it makes me laugh, even though I'm pretty sure it wasn't as dramatic as it sounds. But I like to think that it was.
it sounds like it's something out of a movie. But
Yeah.
it was just like burnt out one night. And even the scorch marks on the outlet, they're not that big of a deal. But yeah, so things will be changing for on my end very, very soon.
Yeah, I got to do the same, man. I've had this same setup for 3+ years now, but I probably had it for over a year, maybe 2 years before anybody ever saw it. But for me, I'm just kind of tired of it. Still got a Christmas tree in the background that Gabby put up while I was on tour, and she got me that. You can't really see it because it's out of focus, but there's a new "Take Me on Tour" sign right there, so I added that as well. But I really have to redo this whole thing too. I'm thinking about putting up some tour posters and something that represents, touring and what I do and all the tours I've been on. I got my laminates up there, but right now it's just a bunch of, influences on who I grew up with. Mustaine's up there and White Zombie, Gavin Rossdale, Thomas Hawk from Meshuggah and Chris Adler. But yeah, I think I'm going to switch it up this year too. But, once you have it set and it looks good, it's kind of hard to start redoing it all over again. But anyway, the last 6 weeks have just been insane. I mean, I just wrapped up a tour with Death Angel drum teching for Will Carroll. This is my second time working for Death Angel. I worked for them in 2019 as their tour manager, and this time doing drum teching and playback. And I was actually touring with another podcast guy, Jose Escudero, who's part of the Roadie Friday podcast, and his co-host Darren Makins actually showed up to one of the shows as well. So it was kind of weird for all of us to be there at once. It's like we might as well have fired up an episode on the spot. But Darren was on tour with Atreyu, and their bus broke down. They had already missed a show. He actually just ended up stuck in the same city that we were going to, so he ended up catching the show. But yeah, it was kind of cool to tour with Jose. He guitar tech for Breaking Benjamin a few years ago. And then, he was guitar teching for Rob Cavastani of Death Angel this time. And you're a big Death Angel fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I love Death Angel. I mean, I wasn't even alive in the 80s, but so I got into them in like 2010. But that Relentless Retribution album, oh my God, dude. Unbelievable. Such a great band. And I think I've seen them like twice. And yeah, they're killer, man. So I'm jealous that you get to see them every night.
Yeah, I never really listened to Death Angel until I started touring with them, and they've definitely. I've never really been much into thrash, I mean, Megadeth, being one of my favorite bands is kind of ironic, but yeah, just not really a thrash guy. And Death Angel has some killer songs, though, man. But yeah, they were doing the Act 3 album in its entirety. I'd never heard that album. A lot of the songs that they did play after Act 3, I was familiar with. Thrown to the Wolves, and then the song Stop and Ecstasy were in the set as well, but those are from 2019. But Dude, it was so long of a set. I mean, it was like an hour and 36 minutes was the normal set time, and that's just longer than you see anybody do. God, I don't think anybody really touches, an hour and a half anymore. Maybe they do, but I just feel like it's like an hour and 15 to an hour and 20. But on the last two shows, we did the Christmas shows in San Francisco, and the last one surpassed 2.5 hours. Like, it was so long, dude. I don't even know if I told you that, did I?
No, this is the first time hearing this.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to. The first night was already 2 hours as it is. The second night was 2.5, partially because it was an extended set, so it's Act 3. Then the second part is like all of the, maybe like 6 or 7 extra songs, and then the third part is like all the Christmas stuff. So they do like a Beatles cover. They did "Cold Gin" by Kiss. They did what is it? "Electric Funeral." Black Sabbath. Yeah, so they did that song, and then somebody got hurt, so then that delayed things anymore. They had to turn all the lights on. They had to call the ambulance. It was like, dude, we were on stage forever. So yeah, it was like 2 hours and 40-minute long set or something like that, man. It was insane. But just finished that up, straight into the holidays, multiple, days of just kind of scramble shopping to try to, I didn't get home until December 20th. So immediately go into trying to do Christmas shopping for everybody, scrambling all over the place. And then immediately into Christmas, which I live, 3 hours from here. So immediately into like 3 or 4 days of driving, coming back. And then I get back and I'm like, hey, do you want to do a podcast episode? I think I got like 3 days left to do it or something. So here we are. But I think you said things have been the same for you, right? I mean, just kind of holiday chaos.
Holiday chaos. And, it's only like, it's like such a short-lived thing. We only do like, I don't know, 4 or 5 Christmas things, but they're all like one right after the other, and it just feels so long and drawn out. So I'm kind of glad now that that's all over with, and New Year's Eve, 2 days from the night that we're filming this. So once we get to the end of this week, it'll be holiday free for a while. And I mean, I like the holidays, but I'm kind of ready to get back into gear,
Yeah, I do. And as you know, we always talk about like the industry. I mean, you're not a booking agent anymore, but Logan once, booked these tours and booked bands. And I remember you always talking about like how the industry like just shuts down for like way too long. And people want to drag things out until basically January 7th or something. And it's like, it just shouldn't last that long.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks of more or less radio silence, unless there's, I don't know, some sort of fucking emergency or something. But then, yeah, it's like, so like this year, for example, I think the first Monday in the new year is like January 4th or 5th. But I feel like it'll take a whole nother week until it'll be like January 12th by the time people get back into it. It's like, sometimes it feels like the laziest industry ever. It's like, there'll be like a holiday on like more Memorial Day is on a Monday, but it's like that whole week, in May, everybody is just like, nope, not doing it. It always just blew my mind. It's like they take the bank holidays and then multiply the duration by like 5.
Yeah, if the holidays on Monday, you'll hear from them by like Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. But by that point, then they're starting to wind down for the weekend.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
it's just a whole week,
yeah.
another whole week off, just a reason to have days off, man.
Pretty much. It was great always after Thanksgiving, because from that point on, I mean, it was just like it started slowing down tremendously. So the last 5-6 weeks of the year always a bit slower, which is great because, as you know, most of the rest of the year is just fucking pure chaos.
Yeah, I'm actually this is the first time I've toured. Well, actually, I toured a year ago in December. So the last 2 years in a row, I've toured in December, which is very rare for me these days. I mean, it's been a long time. Normally, I'd say if you're touring in December, you're pretty lucky. If you're touring in the winter, you're pretty lucky. Usually touring picks up late February into March, and usually ends probably for me like end of October, usually maybe into November. But yeah, I mean, I did Lines of the Gate last year with Upon a Burning Body. That was a short week tour, and then this one did Death Angel for a full 4 to 5 weeks or whatever it was that we did. So fortunate enough to be touring in December 2 years in a row. But yeah, it was just a really long what felt like 2 months, even though it really wasn't. It was probably more like 5.5 weeks that I've been busy, with that tour straight into the holidays. And I called you and I was like, should we even do this, man? Like every time, I do a podcast, I always get all worked up and like second guess it. And, then he started talking about what happened this year. And I was like, oh, we definitely got to do it, man. It's been one hell of a year. And there's just a lot to talk about. So that's why I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And, starting off with some of the biggest tours this year. So much happens in a year that I don't even remember. But the first one that I can think of is the AC/DC Power Up Tour. Wasn't that this year?
Yeah, it was. I went to that show in Cleveland back in May, and that was awesome. And going back to the, everybody playing kind of shorter sets now. I mean, they played for like 2 hours, and it was fucking killer, 2 hours. And I think the singer Brian Johnson, he's like 77, I think, somewhere closing in on 80. And yeah, I mean, him and Angus are still kicking ass, and it was awesome, man. I was a little excited because I'm like, Cleveland was the last show of that tour. And I'm like, wow, I get to see the last ever, probably the last ever U.S. show for AC/DC. Then they go and announce a whole nother tour for summer of 2026. So I don't know. I might go again this summer, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I saw that, and I don't think we had talked about it, but I remember you saying like, "Oh, this might be the last U.S. tour," and I remember seeing that and just not bringing it up to you. I guess we hadn't talked about it yet, and I just kind of forgot about it that they had announced another tour after that. But still cool to see, and every time I don't know why, every time I think of that show, or every time I see anything AC/DC, I always think of those devil horns that you talked about that were lit up the whole stadium or whatever.
Yeah, if you see, you can kind of see in the "Please Don't Do Coke in the Bathroom" sign on the left. There's a little devil horn sticking out of a cup.
Oh, okay.
And that's from that show.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. That what a cool thing, to have that everybody wore them. And I don't know why that's ever since he told me about that. That's kind of been on my mind. It was like such a unique merch item, and everybody bought them. And I can't imagine what they made those for versus what they sold them for. Probably made for $1.
Oh yeah, and I think I don't know. I want to say they were like 25-ish, $30. But dude, it was insane. Nowadays, I mean, you see everybody and the cell phones light up the venue, but to see just a bunch of devil horns, in a 40,000 seat stadium, and there's probably 25,000 people that have them.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was awesome. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I'm sure. Yeah, and the whole cell phone thing. God, I remember once I thought that was like a unique thing when I was like, whoa, like nobody's ever thought about that. Like pull your cell phones out and turn your flashlight on. And, now
Yeah.
everybody does that, dude. I mean, from club bands to stadium bands, it's like, turn your cell phone light on, dude. Like, as long as I've had a cell phone, I can't turn the light on without worrying about my battery percentage. I don't know.
It's been a while since I've seen a lighter at a show, that's for sure. It's nothing but a sea of screens now.
I know, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm the only one that's like that. But if I were to turn my battery light on, I'd be like, yeah, just for like a minute, maybe, because I just feel like it just kills your battery. But yeah, so many people willing to do that for a whole 5 minutes. I don't know. Definitely not a unique experience anymore. But yeah, man, just that was one of the. When I was looking this up, to see what tours happened this year, and the reason I looked it up too is because like time flies and you just don't remember what tour was in what year and all that stuff, and then all the reunions and reunitings and all that stuff. It really gets tricky. But yeah, that AC/DC one came up on an article that I want to say Loudwire put out, and yeah, I was like, damn, I don't remember that being this year, but yeah, I guess it was. And then Disturbed did the Sickness 25th anniversary tour. That was quite a tour. I mean, just a fun fact about that one is Dave Nestor, who drum techs for Mike Wingren, was, I didn't realize how much work and how big of a deal this was until this last tour where I was touring with Jose, and he started talking about it. He was like, because Will Carroll has a massive drum set. In my opinion, it's pretty big. I mean, it's got 2 double kicks, snare drum, 3 rack toms, 2 floor toms, and maybe, I don't know, 9 or 10 cymbals. It takes, quite some time to assemble it and tear it down. And it all has to break down into this hardware case. It doesn't, stay assembled in any way. I mean, every single cymbal arm has to come off. It takes me, I'm the last one loading out for sure. But Dave Nestor, drum tech for Mike Wingren, and he had 2 drum kits to assemble every night, which is quite a lot of work and maintain as well. You know, I mean that guy, I know he can handle it, but that's still a lot of work. And I heard that, you know, that they tried to offer him, you know, a second drum tech, but I think he just chose to take care of it himself, and obviously he made it through. But yeah, that was another tour that happened this year. And then Breaking Benjamin 3 Days Grace, which I was on, which I didn't realize how big of a tour that was. I mean, sometimes I just don't realize the caliber of these tours that I'm on, and I don't think you made it to any one of those, right? You made it to the previous one with Stained, is that correct?
Yeah. I came to the Stained one. I don't think you were anywhere near Ohio with the 3 Days Grace one, which sucks because I wanted to see. Well, I've seen Breaking Ben so many times now, but really wanted to see 3 Days Grace because I haven't seen them since Adam came back.
Yeah, it was an awesome show, man. Co-headliner. I think most of the tours that I've done with Breaking Benjamin are co-headliners, but that one was one of my favorites. I mean, the other one was Alice in Chains, probably from a few years ago, but this 3 Days Grace one with Breaking Ben was just very, very successful. It was also the most competitive in a friendly way. Like, you know, we would be matched on merch sales almost every night, you know, and then they would beat us by this much, and then the next night we would beat them, and it was just like a really good mix of music and bands and crew, and I really had a lot of fun on that one, you know. And then Deftones had a tour this year that I made it to. Metallica was touring on and off throughout the year. 9 Inch Nails, who I don't think, am I wrong, or did 9 Inch Nails not tour for a while?
I feel like they didn't, but then I don't know, maybe and I feel like I've been seeing them pop up more and more the last handful of years. But I do think there was a stretch for a while where they weren't doing much at all.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't heard anything about 9 Inch Nails in a long time, but I don't keep up with them. I know anytime they tour, I mean, packed arenas for sure. I don't see a band like that doing sheds for some reason. Maybe they have, but I feel like they're always just doing big arenas. But I don't know. I thought they were touring this year, which according to that article they were. But yeah, I felt like there was like a hiatus or something before that. And then they had that Summer of Loud tour, which that's like the first time I think that I've heard of like a quad headliner. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, because it was Kill Switch, Parkway Drive. Who were the other two?
I Prevail and Beartooth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's a pretty stacked lineup. I mean, that's for sure.
And then
I think of that. That reminds me of there was that. It was just 3, but I think that tour was called like Trinity of Terror or something like 3 years ago, and that was I think Motionless, Ice Nine, and Black Veil Brides.
Yeah, that was another one like that. Which that's probably the only other time that I think I've heard of something like that happening. And both tours coming from both sides said that it was chaos. Like as far as like loading in and getting, and, you know, because I think on top of the 4 headliners, there were also openers. I think there was like 1 or 2 openers that didn't change throughout the tour. And that guy, Darren Makins, who was part of the Roadie Friday podcast, the one that is buddies with Jose, he was on that tour, and he was telling us about it when he came to the Minneapolis show on that Death Angel tour, like how just chaotic it was, because if I remember correctly, it was, you know, the bands alternating who's closing and all that. So the load in and load out was changing every day. And on top of that, he said they had these big like columns. I don't know if you remember, if you saw any of the set, but there was like these big columns with barbed wire on them. And he said that they actually he thought it was fake barbed wire, which you would think it would be, and it was real.
Oh shit, no way.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe they would even allow that.
That's insane. I mean, that seems like a fucking lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, and he said that he asked him, I think he was working for them. Yeah, and the reason that it was real barbed wire is because it was cheaper. I mean,
wow, no kidding.
Which would make sense. I mean, you know, if you get real barbed wire, it's going to be, I guess barbed wire maybe isn't so bad. Maybe I'm thinking of razor wire. I think it might be what it's called. But either way, barbed wire is still, you know, maybe it was razor wire. I don't know, but I'm thinking like barbed wire is like the little, it looks kind of like a little nails sticking out, and then razor wire I think is like the real wide one where it's got like a whole like T-shaped thing on it. And that's even crazier. Yeah. But yeah, either way,
real though. That's insane.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, they're having stagehands load and unload, these props or whatever with real barbed wire. From what he's telling me, I mean, he was on the tour, I wasn't.
That's insane, man. Wow.
Yeah, so that was quite a tour. I mean, just a four headliner tour. I've never really heard of something like that. And then another big one, of course, that you ended up missing, Sleep Token, man. What happened with that?
God. Yeah, my fiance Jamie, I mean, that is her number one favorite band. And I mean, I'm convinced that's like all she listens to. She's been borrowing my AirPods. And I put my AirPods in the other day. They were still connected to her phone. And of course, as soon as they connect, what comes on but Sleep Token, because she's got that going on her phone. They were, which I'm kind of surprised. This is like their first huge tour, in America. And it was in arenas and it sold out basically, instantaneously. I was amazed that I was even able to pull off getting tickets because it did sell out so quickly. But I was able to make it happen. And then, she had to work. So we missed out on the show at the very last second. And I mean, I felt really, really bad because there's a couple shit like Deftones I did want to see this year, but we missed it. But more often than not, if there's a show that I want to go to, we go. And so I felt bad that like the one show she wanted to go to, we didn't make. But yeah, that was an insane tour. I mean, the production on that was ridiculous. I mean, that was just such a crazy, crazy huge tour.
Yeah, it sucks how it kind of works out that way. And what's funny is that you like how you're saying, you're like, pretty much any tour I go to, like you want to go to, you go, and you never end up paying somehow. You always end up with some kind of hookup. And I'm like, how, dude? I don't even have that kind of hookup. And you're just like, I don't know, man. I know this guy. And I'm like, I don't know how that's possible. But this one, you actually ended up, you somewhat had the hookup, but you ended up buying tickets. So I think you bought them at like face value. So at least they weren't like overpriced. Is that right?
Yeah, I got them. I did pay, but it was like face value. And I think the plus was that it was like tax-free face value. So like whatever the face value of the ticket was, I mean, that is what I paid. There was no tax on top. But the only thing with that was, when you set that up, you just kind of, that the seats are going to be good, but it's not like you go on Ticketmaster and you pick, well, I want to sit here. I mean, it's just, they just give you whatever tickets, you pay the money. And then I forget, it was like maybe 3 weeks or a month before the show, I got an email with the tickets. And then that's when you find out where your seats are. And the seats were killer. I mean, I can't remember now, but I remember when I found out where we were sitting, I went on like StubHub, I think, just to see what the resale value in that section was. And there was somebody trying to get, I don't know, $10,000 or $15,000. It was like on the lowest bowl in the arena, like right beside the stage, like slightly in front of it, right beside. They were good seats, but I do somehow always find a way to finagle being on the guest list somehow, or pulling shit like that and getting some sort of hookup, which I was very grateful for. But unfortunately, I had to sell those Sleep Token tickets back.
Yeah, that sucks, man. And I would imagine, that with that band status right now, those tickets were probably worth at least double what you paid, at least $1,000 each, if I had to guess, for tickets like that. I don't really know, but our monitor engineer for Breaking Benjamin was actually, he worked for Sleep Token, or still works for Sleep Token, and he was doing monitors. And I remember telling you like about that. This was earlier this year, and you were like, I don't know, man, anything you can hook me up. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just met this guy. I'm not sure it's gonna work out that way, But if it does, I'll try. And he was actually supposed to be on the podcast, and I had a bunch of notes written for him, and I just had this feeling he was going to cancel. And of course he canceled, and I really wanted to have him on. And I was just like, man, come on. This is going to be like probably one of the best guests I've ever had. I had a bunch of questions lined up, and yeah, I think he said he wasn't feeling well. I don't know if he was or wasn't, but yeah, he canceled on me. And yeah, I haven't seen him since. He's been working with Sleep Token all year. And I I know he did a festival with us. I didn't see him though, but Louder Than Life. He did Louder Than Life, and I actually saw some of that show. But of course, that's actually a vlog that I need to get out. I actually forgot I was working on that, man. So I guess I went on tour and completely forgot I'd started that vlog. But yeah, I saw the whole stage set, and I posted a couple of pictures from it on Instagram, and saw it from a distance. And every band that's on main stage that's performing after a certain hour, pretty much like 8 o'clock, I've said this before, the whole vibe changes. And of course, for Sleep Token, it did. Closed stage, can't get anywhere near it. Police escorts, band goes directly from stage into an SUV. You have to have a certain wristband to get up there. But it's weird because like during the day, it's like nothing like that. I mean, you can walk up there and watch any band practically be on stage. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird how the vibe changes. But yeah, I mean, that band is huge right now. And there's no surprise, man. They were, Slipknot was another one that was like that the year before at Welcome to Rockville. And it was just mind blowing how an artist can be that big, that security is that high that you're not even allowed to go to your bus because this band's trying to get to their vehicle. It's like, I have a pass though. It doesn't matter though. It's just crazy to me that a band can be that big.
And that is wild. And especially with Sleep Token, it wasn't an overnight thing. I mean, they've been at it, I think, since 2016, and they've got 4 records out now. So, even though it kind of seems like, because I see some people throw around that industry plant term, and it's like, well, these guys have been doing it for like about a decade now at this point. But it really did. I mean, it was not that long ago where they were, I don't know, first of 4 or something with like In This Moment and Nothing More, and I don't know, somebody else, and then Sleep Token opening up. That I think that was like post COVID, if I recall. So
sorry to interrupt. Before you go, that's the tour that Sam got the gig on. I don't know if you remember me telling you that he worked for Nothing More, I think. More, right? Yeah. And Sleep Token was open, and he was like, hey, if you guys need any help with anything, just go ahead and let me know. Next thing you know, Sleep Token's like, hey, do you want to be our monitor engineer? And that paid off,
Yeah. And I mean, now they're, selling out arenas, and it's just the trajectory has just been insane. And I'm sure, that's the only tour they've done since that album came out. They did like 3 UK and Europe festivals or something over the summer, and then the US tour. So I'm sure 2026 is going to be filled with Sleep Token tours nonstop. I mean, why not capitalize on this fucking heat right now? I mean, that's all anybody talks about.
I know, and I don't have anything against the band. I don't listen to them per se. I do think they have some decent songs. I don't understand the hype, but like I said, I don't have any reason to dislike them either. I don't hate them for any reason. Like some people are just there to just hate on them constantly and say that they're not metal and say that they suck and whatever. I mean, I do think that the whole mask thing and costume thing, the whole thing, I mean, it's the same reason bands like Kiss and Slipknot get as big as they do. Unfortunately, I would say one of the only bands it didn't really work for was a band like Mushroomhead, who never really got to capitalize on that whole thing, But I do think it's part of the puzzle. Your music has to be really good too, and then you add that together, and it just makes you that much bigger. And so I do think that is part of it. I don't know if a band like that would be as big as they are that fast without the masks and the whole being anonymous thing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, insane that they're as big as they are. And I think I told you this, I don't remember if I mentioned it on any of the episodes that I've done, but they brought that, that whole set from their tour. And I think it was 19 semi trucks worth. And I don't remember how many hours. I can't remember the hours, but I know they were there all day. And even until like bands were performing and there was still guys back there like working on the set. Like it still wasn't even completed and doors were already open.
That is insane. I mean, 19 trucks just for that is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, good God.
And with that comes all sorts of rumors. Somebody was like, yeah, I heard that Danny Wimmer didn't even want them to bring that. And then on the other side, you're like, there's no way. Like, that's the reason he wanted them to perform. And like, you just hear all sorts of things about like I don't know. I heard all sorts of things, but either way, they were there. Their crew worked really hard to get it set up, and I do think that one of the main downsides to that thing is that anybody that played on that stage got kind of screwed because whenever they're playing, it looks just like this. It's like a black kabuki, like a black banner. It's just black, and it just so nobody could have video wall, nobody could have backdrops, nobody could have any kind of stage set because Sleep Token took up the entire stage. So all the video wall is gone, So like not Sleep Token, Spirit Box was playing, and like I have a video of them, and you can barely tell that there's a band on stage because I'm filming and like these people are like this big, and all you see is like this black. It looks like you're waiting for a band to start playing, like it looks like you're waiting for the kabuki to drop. So I don't know. I cannot believe that was allowed. I guess when a band is that big, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know if maybe things would be reconsidered if they came back, but they definitely took over that stage without a doubt. But yeah, man, it sucks that you missed that tour. One of the biggest bands of the last probably 2 or 3 years. I mean, every year that goes by, that band's just getting bigger and bigger. So it's unfortunate that you missed that show, but yeah, maybe you can catch them again next year. And I just can't believe the way things lined up. Like you buy these tickets, you have the date set, and then Jamie has to. What did she have to do? She had to work something that was like.
Yeah, it was like a super last minute thing, and yeah, it's just such a bummer because I think she was supposed to work like 3 Saturdays in a row or something, and then she only ended up having to work this Saturday of the Sleep Token show. So yeah, I felt super bad. It was a mega bummer, but it is what it is. Again, I'm sure there will be more touring in 2026, 2027.
Yeah, that band's going, nowhere, man. And I mean that in a good way. Like that band's going to be around for a long time, and they're just getting started. And I mean, I made it sound like that band's going nowhere, man. That band sucks.
What the fuck?
Nah, I mean, like that band's going to be here for a long time, man. Like you said, they're just getting started. I mean, you were mentioning, as we talked about with Sam working for In This Moment, or he was working for Nothing More on the In This Moment tour, and Sleep Token is the opener. I mean, that's just insane, man, to think that we're only a few years later and this is where they're at. So they're just getting started. They're going to be around for the next 20 years, man. So I would say, yeah, hopefully in 2026, you can catch one of their shows. What are you laughing at?
Yeah, they're going nowhere, man. That was just so funny.
Yeah, it sounded rough for sure. All right, but getting into tours that are happening in 2026, not too much I'm excited for as of yet. Basically, Megadeth starts their farewell tour, so looking forward to any shows that'll come in my way for that. I think the first one they're doing is all in Canada, and that one is with Anthrax and Exodus, so that's not coming anywhere near me. Then they're doing one with Iron Maiden later in the year, which I don't have tickets for that either, but I would love to go to any show that I can make it to anytime during their farewell tour. And then I think Rush is doing a tour as well. Motley Crue.
Dude. Yes, dude, everything. So I'm about to travel. I really think I can talk Jamie, my fiance, into traveling like 6 hours to go see Maiden and Megadeth together. That is like a holy shit show to me. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that's a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one I'm stoked for. The Rush. I never got to see Rush originally. I feel like you're not a Rush fan though, are you?
Once like not really, but nothing against them either. Oh man. People dog on Sean Foist, who was in Breaking Benjamin for he was a Rush fan, and people would always make fun of him for I don't know why. I guess the rest of the band weren't, but yeah, I don't have a problem with them.
Yeah, Rush is awesome to see them coming back with 2/3 of the lineup. That'll be super cool. But yes, of course, Motley Crue, Carnival of Sins. I mean, I am like, I'm unbelievably hyped for that. I mean, oh my God, yeah, I could sit here for 2 hours and talk to you about Carnival of Sins. That's how fucking excited I am for that.
Carnival of Sins was it an album?
No, it's the name of the tour. And so it's
okay.
Actually, it's a good point. I've never seen a band. This is the first time I've ever seen a band do like an anniversary of a tour. It's not an anniversary of an album or anything like that. It's the anniversary of a tour that they did.
Okay, well, that's why I was asking because I'm not super familiar with their discography or anything they've done. So Carnival of Sins, I mean, I thought that was an album or something.
No, that was like their big comeback tour in like 2004, 05. I think maybe 05, 06, something like that. And yeah, I have the DVD. I watched it a million times. I mean, it's just this huge, the stage is this big circus tent, and there were, I don't know, fire breathers, and like this dwarf that kept running around the stage is like this evil clown, and just fucking fire I don't know. It was like the most insane thing. I think all of the stagehands were dressed as clowns. I mean, it was this over the top deal. I'm sure it probably won't be. That was an arena tour. Now this is a shed tour. I'm sure it'll probably be quite a bit more scaled down than it was 20 years ago. But yeah, I never got to go to the original. So to be able to see that is awesome. The two support bands, Tesla and Extreme, are awesome. So I mean, that, yeah, I mean, that was like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, I was going to say it seems harder to do something like that in sheds just because of the way they're built. But it also, I was going to say, I bet you it's going to be scaled down only for the fact that I feel like everything is scaled down, as we've talked about before. Like nobody does anything the way they used to do things. I bet there'll be a lot of video wall though, which I know is your favorite.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love it. No, dude, that's the thing. Like the original Carnival of Sins, there was no video wall. I mean, the backdrop of the stage was the back of the circus tent,
Yeah.
and it was very everything. I'm very much more into like actual like physical props and production and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be a little bit disappointing on the production end, possibly the performance end as well. But just to be able to at least say that I did see Carnival of Sins in some sort of capacity, that'll be cool. And I'm honestly surprised that they're even going on a full blown tour like that again. Anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But all those three tours you mentioned, Megadeth, Rush, Motley, those are going to be awesome, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. The other one I was excited about, I'm not a huge Foo Fighters fan, but that Foo Fighters stadium tour with Queens of the Stone Age, I thought was super cool. I love Queens of the Stone Age, and Foo Fighters kind of making their comeback. So a lot of big tours happening next year.
Yeah, not a Foo Fighters fan myself. They write really good songs, but they're just not for me. But I do think I can see why people like them, but I don't like any of their songs for some reason. But Motley Crue, yeah, I think you and I have had this conversation a lot, off the podcast, just about people scaling things down and not doing it the way they used to. And, Rob Zombie's one of them. Kiss was one of them. And I was talking to Will Carroll about that because Kiss is his favorite band. And I was like, well, what are your thoughts on, Passing of Ace and the Farewell Tour? And he agreed too. I told him what I thought about the Farewell Tour, and I was like, don't you think it should have been something more? Shouldn't there have been, maybe like divided by eras or something, like here's the 70s set list, here's the 80s set list, do something really special, really big props, tributes to Eric Carr and stuff like that. And it was just like another farewell show. And it's like, dude, this is the last time you're ever going to play, supposedly. I just feel like they didn't go out very strong. And so I just think it's just so rare that you see bands go all out with actual props these days, and I don't know why that is, but yeah, I would imagine that the Motley Crue one is unfortunately not going to be anywhere near the same experience it was 20 years ago.
No, I'm sure not. I mean, nothing is, and that whole farewell thing, I don't know why it's like, it seems like for so many bands, their quote unquote farewell show is just, yeah, I mean, it's just another tour date. They're going to play the same shit on the final night that they played the night before, and it just, I mean, to me, it's like, well, then what's the point of, if I can go to a show, at the halfway point of the tour versus the last show of the tour? I mean, other than being able to say, well, I was at the last show, but there's going to be no difference. I mean, it's going to be the same thing on night 45 as it was on night 10. You know what I mean?
Of course. And that's what I think that the last 1 to 2 shows should be something special. I mean, just like I said on the Death Angel one, we did the Christmas shows and they were like a separate thing and extended set or whatever. If it's going to be your last show ever, and I think Kiss did the last 2 shows, it's like that should be. I think people were giving them a hard time for not choosing 2 different set lists. One for night 1 and one for night 2, and they didn't even do that. And then it's just, in my opinion, it's pure laziness. I can't see what's so difficult about changing the set list at least, 5 songs out of whatever you play. But yeah, they didn't even change the set list, man. So I do think they should go out with a bang, but whatever. I mean, that's already over and done with. But yeah, Megadeth, man, I would love to be. That's kind of the only thing I see in 2026 that I'm looking forward to. I would love to be a part of any of those tours in any way, but I don't know. Sometimes it's best to just keep it separate, work for, not work for the bands that are your favorites. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But this was a big touring year for me regardless. I mean, this was my 10th year touring. I started touring in 2015. I mean, so that was a pretty monumental thing for me that I made it 10 years, not even knowing if I'd make it to the second or third year, starting out with Shattered Sun and quitting my day job, and basically running my bank account down to nothing, having no clue when the next tour is going to come. To make it 10 years was a pretty big deal for me. And you and I both have history with Shattered Sun, but yeah, I mean, I will forever say that I owe my start to them, man. They were my foot in the door, and the first tour we ever did was Testament, Exodus, and Shattered Sun, and then you worked for them a couple of years later, and yeah, man, they got me my start. But yeah, 10 years later, and I'm still touring.
That's got to be an incredible feeling, man. I mean, you quit your job at Costco for this, right?
I did, and I spent 7 years there. I thought that was going to be my job forever, and boy, am I glad it's not, man. It's a great company to work for, but I really did think that was the end. I was like, man, this is my career now. And I don't know. Of course, it's retail. I don't know why I ever thought that. I guess I just figured I wasn't going to find any other better job. I don't know why I would think that. I mean, there are people who spend 30, 40 years there, but I just thought that was it for me. And then along comes touring and an opportunity, and I'm like, this shit's way better, way more exciting. And yeah, I mean, now I'm, I got to drum tech this year. I got to go to Australia. It's like as soon as I get into drum tech and start really getting those gigs, it's like my second drum tech gig ever was going to Australia. And that's just insane, man. And that's exactly what I've been looking forward to. And it's happening way sooner than I thought. I thought I was going to take another 5 years, but that's part of the reason that I wanted to get into drum teching and not be a merch person is that, there's a long list of reasons that I have, but one of them being that you don't get to do anything outside of the US. And very fortunate that I am able to say that I went to Australia like on my first year of drum teching. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. And I know you've got some other cool stuff coming up on the drum tech side for 2026. So it'll be exciting to see where that all takes you.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to stick with it, man. It's going good. And yeah, I'm just glad I made it into there. And on the merch side of things, I did some of the biggest tours I've ever done. I mean, last year, which was one of the Stained and Breaking Benjamin co-headliners, but we did a second leg of that this year. And then right into the last Breaking Ben tour I did was a co-headliner with 3 Days Grace. And that, like, as we talked about earlier, that was just a massive tour to be a part of. And so really thankful for 10 years later that I'm able to say I'm, doing amphitheaters and arenas, across the country. So it's been a long 10 years, man. And I mean, I would say post-COVID is probably not until things started to get really exciting. But just glad to be here 10 years later, man. And knowing I met you in 2017, so I've known you for the majority of my touring career.
16. Yeah.
Oh, 17. 16.
Come a long way since American March. Good God.
Yeah. I know when you put it like that. Yeah, I met you about a year after I started touring. So damn, I didn't realize I've known you almost all of my touring career.
Yeah, well, that's crazy, man. I can't believe it's been a decade almost. That's insane.
Yeah,
that is wild.
No, for sure, man. And a lot of the stories that happened, it's been such a year for so many deaths and crazy news. And if anybody doesn't know, Logan has the Logan Show where he talks about all sorts of things, but one of them is talking about breaking news stories or any kind of touring stories or music stories or anything with rock and metal kind of stuff. So he is the one that kind of is more in tune with all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to talk to you about what you think or some of the biggest stories of the year, because it's been quite a year to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately, when you look back at 2025 and some of the biggest things in rock and metal this year, unfortunately, a lot of it is deaths, which is tragic. But of course, Ozzy, which I don't think, between Ozzy's death and Back to the Beginning and all of that, I mean, that was, I think, far and away the biggest dominating, news in rock and metal. And it obviously extended into the mainstream media. I mean, that was just such a big thing for such a long time. And even Back to the Beginning before it happened, I mean, it's like from April to September was just nothing but Ozzy, and when he died in July, and then that's all you saw for weeks and weeks and weeks on end was tributes and all that. So, of course, that was probably the number one thing. But obviously, just recently we lost Ace Frehley, which was, that was really surprising. I mean, he just played just like Ozzy. I mean, he had just played like a few weeks before his death, and that, of course, was from an accident at home. So that was awful. Sam Rivers, I think, was like maybe a day or two after Ace, um, which was, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like one thing after another. Brent Hines from Mastodon. I mean, that was probably the most crazy to me because, I mean, when you look at Ozzy or Ace or whoever, I mean, I guess Sam too, but, I mean, a younger guy, he's like 50 years old, whatever. And there was the big story with him at the beginning of the year where he was fired from Mastodon or whatever. And then, 6 months later, he dies in a motorcycle accident. So a lot of tragedy this year. And then, of course, most recently, not a band guy, but very close to rock and metal, Rob Reiner, who, of course, made This Is Spinal Tap, one of the most, I think everybody in any band in any genre can relate to that movie. So that was crazy. So yeah, I think, when you look back at 2025, lots and lots of deaths, lots of, I don't want to say notable deaths, not like somebody's death is more important than somebody else's, but yeah, I mean, a lot of really big, legendary, iconic figures, so I think that's kind of what immediately comes up. But yeah, looking back at just more regular news stories, I mean, of course, Back to the Beginning was, again, probably like the biggest, source of news. But the Megadeth farewell, like we mentioned, I mean, that kind of, I was a little bit surprised by that news. I mean, surprised in one way. I mean, it just kind of, I don't know, I guess I wasn't quite ready for Megadeth to announce their farewell, but that one did surprise me a little bit.
No, it totally did. I think it was very shocking to me, and it's as we talked about on the Ozzy episode, we did that one a couple of episodes ago, talking about Ozzy when he passed away and just kind of how heavy of a thing that was and the impact it made. And we talked about the end of an era, more or less, the end of Ozzy, but also what's to come, the end of Megadeth, the end of Metallica, not only the end of the bands, but the end of, the members passing away. I think, as you said, this is a really heavy year for deaths, and a lot of the news is death related. And I think, unfortunately, there's just more to come of that. And I think also when so many of them happen, I mean, there was 4 or 5 deaths that you listed. It's just like, you kind of become, I don't know if desensitized is the word, but like, it's just, you hear about them so often that it's not, 10 years ago, if you heard about someone's death, it was like, that was the only death for the whole year probably. And it was a big deal, but like now it's like, you hear about so many all the time. It's just become like the norm. And that's only going to happen more and more as these years go by. And it just sucks. I mean, the next year it could be 3 or 4 more people, as I've said in the other episode, there's, all of Iron Maiden, Judas Priest and AC/DC. And there's so many more bands to go that I just think we have a lot more of that coming up. And yeah, it was just a pretty heavy year for that. And the Ozzy thing had a huge impact. I never got to meet a lot of these people. And I think, I don't know, I was so fixated on that for so long. I just wanted to meet, Ozzy and meet Ace Frehley. I never got to do that. And to this day, it's funny. I was just texting with Mike Warren, who we always talk about Megadeth and Metallica, and he sent me a poster of Euthanasia that he got signed in 1997. And dude, I've been chasing Dave Mustaine since '99, and I still haven't met him.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like an elusive guy, and I don't know if I even told you this. Last year, I almost interviewed Ace. It was when he came out with, well, I guess what turned out to be his final studio album. But yeah, I almost had him on, and I guess the scheduling didn't quite work out. But yeah, I was super bummed about that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I guess as I'm getting older and doing touring and stuff like that, maybe it's not as important to meet these people, but for some reason, I mean, I would still like to. I mean, but some people like, Ace Frehley and Ozzy Osbourne, it's like, how are you gonna meet them? The chances are so just slim, unless you're, paying for it or you're like a stalker. I mean, there's people who I've stood outside hotels and got autographs. I mean, I've told you before, I got kicked out of the hotel in Corpus for trying to meet Mustaine, so it's like, I'm no stranger to that, but like there's people that are to the next level where they're flying places and waiting at airports and, getting people's flight info and, doing all sorts of stuff like that. And there's just a limit to, I guess, what I'd be willing to do. But yeah, I would like to meet Mustaine. And it does, back to what you were saying about Megadeth announcing their farewell, it was like, is this really happening? I mean, Mustaine's probably 64, something like that. 64 going on 65. And I can see that, especially if he's saying that the thing's going to last 3 to 5 years. That makes sense. I mean, you're going to be pushing 70, as you talked about earlier too. Angus Young is, 70 some or whatever, or all of AC/DC are, but like playing AC/DC riffs versus playing Megadeth riffs is, I think, quite different, wouldn't you say?
Probably. And I guess, I don't know, it's one of those things too, where it's like, I don't know, at least for me, and maybe it's because I am on the younger side and wasn't around, back when Megadeth started, but it's like, I don't know, you see these guys like Mustaine and whoever else, and especially him, I mean, because he's still got the red hair and whatever, but I guess you just don't see like old man, like you look at AC/DC and you're like, these guys have been at it for a long fucking time, but like, I don't know, other people, you know what I mean? Like, you don't look at it and immediately be like, oh fuck yeah, he's in his mid 60s, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, at least that's how I am. So I was a little surprised and certainly bummed to see it, but at the same time, I mean, we've seen time and time again, Motley Crue was supposed to, they were supposed to be done 10 years ago. Rush stopped a long time ago. So, every band does seem to come back. So, I mean, who knows if they'll actually be done when they say they'll be done.
I mean, it would be insane. I mean, I'm not a guitarist, but I can't imagine. I don't know if somebody in their 70s can pull off those like Mustaine solos. I mean, I don't know. That'd be pretty incredible, man. If like Mustaine can do it into his 70s or something. It just seems like it's hard to, for your hands to work that well at that age. I mean, I know my grandparents and stuff like that. Once you get to a certain age, your hands don't quite work the same way. They're just not as flexible, and so I don't know. Playing guitar just doesn't seem that easy to happen. But so I think Megadeth's off to a great start with that first tour being Megadeth, Anthrax, and Exodus. I would love to catch one of their shows, whenever it comes by. But I mean, that's really all I'm looking forward to in 2026. But any other stories that you wanted to mention from 2025?
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful. One, which I think this will be like the last gloomy one, but one that I do feel has been sort of forgotten in a way by the media, and maybe it's just because it wasn't some legend or whatever, but is that plane crash back in I want to say that was May with the booking agent Dave Shapiro, which, I mean, for those that don't know, Dave Shapiro was my God, what a huge agent. I mean, booked all sorts of bands, a lot of the Warped Tour type of bands, and the plane crash was it included him, the former drummer, I think, from The Devil Wears Prada, and then there was a few other employees at the agency that Shapiro was one of the co-founders of, Sound Talent Group. So that, and I knew Shapiro personally. I mean, I wasn't overly close with him. I don't think I ever met him in person, but we had quite a few phone conversations and email exchanges and all that. And that was that was shocking, man. I mean, that hit hard. That was not something that I don't think anybody was expecting to hear about. And then I saw it make its way to the mainstream news, and that was terrible. So I did want to point that out because I don't want anyone to overlook that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I know what you mean. Like you don't hear about it the same way you do with some of these other deaths because they're not mainstream people. They're not the talent as far as they're behind the scenes people. And guy was probably I didn't know him personally or know him really at all, and so the guy probably is a legend in his own right, but more of like a behind the scenes legend. Somebody that's more in the industry. Like you said, he owned a booking agency, and he was a booking agent for many years. And yeah, just unfortunate that something like that
And
had
the
to
pilot
happen.
in the plane too.
Say that
So
again.
yeah, he was the pilot in the plane as well. So yeah,
Right.
terrible all the way around. But yeah, I think that was it is in terms of tragedy. But some other things that I was trying to pull up some articles to refresh my memory because when you start looking back at the year, it's like, oh my god, I can't believe this was that long ago, or oh my god, I thought this was forever ago. But a few other things I did want to point out was obviously Warped Tour came back this year, which was, I mean, that's a huge thing. It's a lot different than it was, but the fact that Warped Tour made its return also goes to show you that no matter when somebody says they're done, they always come back anyways. So, now Warped Tour made their comeback. But one of the more interesting things that started late last year and continued into the beginning of this year was the Primus drum derby, which I thought was a really interesting way to go about it. I think it was the end of, I think it was like in the fall of 2024 when Tim Alexander left Primus, but they did the auditions, I think, late last year into this year, and then announced John Hoffman as their new drummer in, I don't know, February or March or something. But the way that Primus went about that whole thing, I thought was extremely interesting, and they made like a big spectacle out of it in a good way. There's like a whole YouTube series, like 10 episodes or something, documenting the whole process of finding a new drummer, and that was that was really really interesting to watch unfold.
I keep telling myself for I don't know how long now that I'm gonna go back and watch that whole thing on YouTube, and I never have. I never remember, and I'm always, always, always looking for things to watch. Like when I'm eating lunch or dinner or anything, I'm always like, man, what am I gonna watch? And like, I need to start writing this stuff down because I can never remember to go back to it. But I've been wanting to watch it, and every time that I think about it, I'm not in the place to start it or whatever. So I really do need to go back and watch this. But can you imagine the year that somebody like John Hoffman has had? Like, I don't know if you follow him.
I do, yeah.
It's like that guy has to be living. He probably still doesn't think it's real because every time he posts something, it's like, here's me hanging out with like so and so, like that guy's just not living the real life right now. It's
Yeah, it's like his life changed overnight. And there's so I did a video on it when he got the gig and it was announced, but he did a whole video. I think it's on his YouTube channel. Maybe you can find it and link it. But he like gave the entire recap of the story, and I think he, if I recall, he even like shared a screenshot of the email from Les Claypool, like basically saying "Welcome aboard." Like he shared all sorts of stuff, went into a lot of detail. It was very very fascinating. So yeah, that guy's got to be living I mean, it's like one day I think he was in a band that was maybe kind of known in their little scene, but yeah, I mean, he's, went from being a small timer one day to being in fucking Primus the next day, which is wild, man. Good for him. And he seems like a solid dude from what I see online. So he's got a cool gig. But that whole, documenting the whole thing and 6,500 people auditioning, not in person, but submitting auditions, and then they do the in-person thing. I mean, it was really quite a production that they put on.
Yeah, and that for somebody like that did really kind of sort of happen overnight. Like people always say it didn't happen overnight. That one really did. But he joined an established band. But it is awesome to see that he was able to document it. You know, me doing this Take Me on Tour thing, cameras being involved or being around is, you know, not always the best idea. You know, a lot of the times it's not allowed, or you're kind of on, you know, on edge with it. You don't really know who's comfortable around it. So the fact that they're comfortable with him sharing screenshots and sharing footage and sharing his side of the story is awesome, man. And he's got like the full experience right now. So, you know, awesome that he got that gig. And, you know, I wasn't really familiar with all of the people involved, but I did see in some of the comments people saying like, it's without a doubt going to be this guy. It needs to be this guy. And I could be wrong, but I thought that guy that they were talking about was maybe in like a Primus tribute band or something. So it just seemed like the best fit. But it is interesting and all and kind of cool when it's not the person that you think it's going to be this whole time. It keeps things interesting. And yeah, man, John Hoffman, and he really changed his life forever.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, he seems to be getting on with the rest of the band well, and I don't think this will be some sort of short-lived thing. I mean, it seems like you know, I mean, he'll probably I can't imagine Primus has that much gas left in the tank. I mean, they've been at it for a long time too, so it would not surprise me to see him close out their career with them, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that I think about it, I wish I planned better, you know, but I didn't realize when we did one of the Breaking Benjamin tours, Primus was playing right down the street, you know, in Rogers, Arkansas. So anybody that knows that tours at this level, if you're playing, you know, if you're living in if you're playing Rogers, Arkansas, you're probably staying at a hotel right down the street. There's an Embassy Suites that's right there that you can pretty much see the Top Golf and see the venue. You can hear the music. So, I mean, some of the people walked, you know, down to see the show. And I don't know why I chose not to, and I kind of regretted it. And we were talking earlier about triple headliners and quadruple headliners. I think that was kind of a triple headliner. I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, Primus, Pussifer, and A Perfect Circle. Is that who it was?
Yeah, was that like Sasanta or something like that? The tour was called Sasanta or something like that.
Yeah, but whenever you hear that, like I'm like, what is Sasanta? It sounds like some salsa band or something.
Yeah, wasn't it like Maynard's like, I don't know, 50th, 60th birthday celebration or something like that?
It was probably 60th, but yeah, I mean, I can't be alone on that. Like you hear like, why is it called I guess I'm just out of the loop, but why is it called Sasanta? To me, like I think people had mentioned it the week before, like, oh yeah, Sasanta is gonna be there, you know, the day before, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And why would anybody give a shit? You know, and it turns out to be like one of the coolest tours in history. But yeah, I don't know. Like to me, Sasanta, it totally sounds like, I don't know, just some like not rock, not our genre at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm kind of bummed too. I'm not like the biggest fan of any of those bands. I mean, Primus is probably my favorite out of those three, but that tour came near me too, and I do kind of wish I would have went, because I feel like that was one of those shows where it's like you don't really have to be a hardcore fan. Like I think just the overall experience of it, because I think they at one point in the show they all the bands were on stage together, you know, and it is kind of one of those like, you know, rare sort of shows that you don't see every day. You know, something unique.
Yeah, when I think what made me realize, now that I think about it, why I should have gone is like I said, everything's kind of in that area. So I remember going to walk to get dinner on that day off, and I went to Chick-fil-A, and I'm walking back to the hotel with Chick-fil-A, and walking past the venue, you can hear Primus playing My Name is Mud. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, man, I could be at this show, but I don't know. Instead, I'm going to my hotel to eat Chick-fil-A by myself.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just like on the sidewalk, and I remember like trying to get a peek inside to see if I can see it, and I couldn't see anything. But yeah, I mean, Chick-fil-A was good though. But man, yeah, I totally missed that show.
Well, two other things that I just wanted to point out quickly was the one was the Foo Fighters 9 Inch Nails little drummer swap a few months ago. That was sort of I don't know, it was just kind of an unexpected thing when that happened, when Josh Freese left Foo Fighters, went back to 9 Inch Nails, and then Alon Rubin left 9 Inch Nails, went to Foo Fighters. So that was an interesting story when that happened.
It was a whole Eloy Casagrande drummer swap all over again.
Oh, dude, I swear to God, every time I do a video that has anything to do with Eloy, Jay Weinberg, or Grayson Recruitment, I always point out the little drum triangle of, Jay Weinberg and Slipknot, and then Suicidal and Eloy leaving Sepultura to go to Slipknot, and then Grayson left Sepultura or left Suicidal to go to Sepultura or whatever. I mean, it was just, oh God, I get such a kick out of that. But yeah, very, very similar to that. So that was interesting. But then the last thing is somewhat recent, but Slipknot selling the majority stake in their catalog, which that was I don't know. I don't really know what to make of that whole thing, but it was interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, and I think a lot of when something like that happens, a lot of speculation comes with it, of course, and some people are saying that they're preparing to come to an end, and they might be. I mean, as we talked about with Megadeth playing these songs, into their 60s, Slipknot are in their 50s. Clown is probably almost 60. But yeah, I mean that could be possible, but that they can't play forever. So I don't know if you think that might be a thing, but I guess it's no surprise. We're just at the point where, as I've said earlier, it's just nothing's going to last forever, and we are at that point. I mean, how much longer can you? I can't see Corey Taylor screaming at 65 the way he does now. It just doesn't seem like it would happen.
Well, you made the comparison of playing AC/DC riffs versus Megadeth riffs, and then, but I think comparing Megadeth to Slipknot just in terms of aggression and intensity, and especially when it comes to vocals. I mean, Megadeth is like the AC/DC in that first comparison you made. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, to see Slipknot, out there in their, even early 60s, playing that kind of music, that's pretty insane. I mean, that would be quite remarkable to see. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. You look at, I mean, obviously we're talking Rolling Stones versus Slipknot, but you see like a guy like Mick Jagger who's like 83 years old, I mean, I've never known somebody that old in my life who can move like that. I mean, everybody that's 83 that I've ever known is like a fucking cane or a wheelchair or whatever, and he's up there still spinning around like he's fucking 20. I don't know. Like, some people are just freaks of nature. So
moves like Jagger.
Fuck yeah. But no, I don't know. But I feel like typically, when you sell your catalog or whatever, and I think, to be fair, Slipknot, I think they just sold, it's like publishing. But, I feel like whenever you see a band sell their catalog, it does always come towards the end of the career or at the end of their career. I mean, a lot of times the band, whatever band is in the news for selling their catalog, I mean, they're not even active anymore, So it is, to me at least, it feels somewhat interesting to see a band that's still active, doing something like that.
Yeah, and not to get too spacey, Jost always says that, spacey, like I know what he means, but I'd never heard that term before. But like, what I was going to say is we are still. I guess I've been thinking about this a lot lately, ever since Ozzy died, and like we are still witnessing the first of a lot of things. And we watched, Black Sabbath, the first metal band ever. We watched the death of Ozzy, that was the first, and there's just so many things that are happening. And as you were talking about, like, can't really see Slipknot getting into their 60s and doing like extreme music. Like, we are witnessing all of that for the first time and how it's going to play out. Like, even bands like Meshuggah are almost 60. Like, we're about to see what actually happens for the first time for a first death metal band, for the first extreme metal band, for the first, heavy metal band to like reach that point in their career and see what happens. And it's just mind blowing to me that I'm here to witness it. It really is, because I don't know. I mean, I just think there's a whole lot of firsts to come for the next 20 years, as I've been talking about. Just things are going to unfold, and it's just going to be interesting to see. But yeah, we've never seen a death metal band go into their 60s. Are they going to make it or not? I mean, some of them will, but yeah, it'd be crazy to see any of those bands go into their 60s and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you're right. I never really thought of it like that. You know, I mean, it's a great way to put it. I mean, we are there. Never before has there ever been a band, in my opinion, that's as heavy as Slipknot, that's as big as they are. You know, I mean, I can't think of anybody that huge that's that heavy. Obviously, there's bands that are far heavier, but not anywhere near the level that Slipknot is at. So yeah, I don't know. They it does seem like they have began to slow down a little bit. You know, they're not, I wouldn't say the most active band in the world these days, but I don't know, that could change. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to speculate on for sure because again, I don't know the last time I seen a band sell their catalog or have anything to do with that when they were still, you know, active. They're going to have a lot shorter of a lifespan than a band like, you know, Black Sabbath started what, 60 some years ago, 65 years ago, something like that. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah, I mean, you're not going to have Slipknot, you know, bands like that. I mean, they can't, it's physically impossible to go that long. You know what I mean? So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all of this plays out.
Yeah, and Slipknot being one of my favorite bands, I don't expect it to last too much longer. I always wanted to work for them as well. That'll probably never happen. Probably best it doesn't. Yeah, there's just that's one of the unfortunate things about getting into touring. I didn't start touring until 2015, you know, which at this point is 10 years ago, as I said. But a lot of the opportunities that I'm getting aren't the opportunities that I hoped would happen, and some of those opportunities aren't going to happen just because I got into it so late. But you just can't change that, and it's not like I mean, I didn't even think touring was possible when I started. It just seemed impossible to start working a job like that. So I'll probably not work for a lot of the bands that I hoped to, you know, but still fortunate to be doing this even 10 years later, and hopefully at least another 10 more to come. But yeah, I think a lot of things are going to look a lot different in the next decade. That's for sure.
I agree. And I mean, like you mentioned, this was your 10th anniversary of touring, and I'm sure a lot's changed too, just for you in the last 10 years since you began to where we are now too.
Yeah, ever changing, man. And you know, expenses being one of them, pay rates being another one of them, my touring lifestyle being another. A lot of things have changed. So I'd be interested to see where I am, even 5 years from now, and where the industry is, considering all the things we just talked about. I think there's gonna be a lot more farewell tours for sure coming up. A lot of ending of eras, ending of bands, and unfortunately more deaths to come. You know, but coming into 2026, what are your plans? What are you looking forward to? I know you're kind of going into a new setup as we talked about as well. That's kind of perfect timing now that I think about it, going into January and you're doing this, redoing your office or whatever.
Yeah, I like to call it the studio now, but uh, yeah, no, it is. I wish it kind of would have worked out a little bit better. Like, it would have been so great to start the new year completely fresh with a new, you know, new everything. But yeah, now's a great time to do it. You know, just keep pumping out the videos and keep doing more. You know, try to keep doing some more podcasts with some guests. And I did my first in person one recently, and that went, you know, pretty well, all things considered. You know, so just keep on trucking. As long as the news is pumping, I'll be pushing out videos.
Yeah, and that was with Charlie Starr. Is that his name?
Yeah, from Blackberry Smoke,
Not to be
which
confused with
yeah,
Patrick Starr.
that's that, that's right, that's right. But you know, by the way, I mentioned the whole Spinal Tap thing earlier, but God, dude, this after I did that interview, when we were leaving, we went like the door we left was backstage, and so as we're walking out, the rest of the band is coming in to do sound check. So this was like, I'm not in a band, so this was like my one opportunity to have a Spinal Tap moment, and I sure as fuck did, because we were leaving, and the door to leave. So you're like in the auditorium by the seats, and you go through this door, and you're by the little side, like the little backstage area that takes you actually backstage, and there's also a door that goes outside. So we're leaving, and the rest of the band is coming in the building to do sound check. And the door that you come out of when you leave the theater and it takes you backstage, there's a ramp inside the venue part that goes to the stage. Okay, so we walk out this door and we're backstage. The guitar player comes in and he points to the correct backstage entrance and he goes, "Is this how we get backstage?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, it's this way. You gotta go in this way." And then the tour manager is like, "Paul, no, it's this way. It's this way." And God, I felt like the biggest dumb fuck ever. I was so embarrassed, man. I'm giving the guy wrong directions to get the sound check. Oh my God, dude. It was so embarrassing.
You could have come out on top if the tour manager was wrong.
I know, but oh my God, it is so embarrassing. I'm like, oh, the guy fucking hates me now. But
dude, you could have been a hero.
I know, but I shit the bed and gave the guy wrong directions.
Man, I thought you were gonna say that you saved it and you were like you had the right door the whole time.
Nope, I gave him the wrong door. But so that was my little Spinal Tap moment. But no, that was the in-person thing was great, and hope to do more of those, and got some cool podcast guests coming up, and I think it'll be a great year.
Yeah, and so as Logan said, he did the interview with Charlie Starr, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'll link it below for you to check it out. His first in-person one, and I think he got a pretty good response from it, as you said, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Not the Blackberry Smoke's not the biggest band in the world, but their fan base is just extremely, extremely dedicated. I mean, even on Facebook, like their fan group, not their Facebook page, but like the fan group has over 100,000 people in it. And it's just, it's a very hardcore rabid fan base. So yeah, it worked out pretty well for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that one done. And that's
he's actually also, I should point out for anybody that's listening, it's a metal guy. Charlie Starr is on, I think he's on the Mark Morton solo album.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you got that one done. And it is weird that a band like that, I mean, has such a crazy cult following, man. But that's awesome that you got it done, and I'm glad the interview went well. And I'm still doing Crue interviews, and I had some good ones this year, and not too many, as I've said before. These podcasts are really hard for me to get out in a timely manner. But I did have Mike Warren and Blake Bailey, who are both backline guys for Breaking Benjamin. Those are two of my favorite episodes, and they have the most views, and I think they're the most well-done episodes and kind of what I would like every episode to be like. So those were actually filmed in 2024, but they came out in 2025. So go check those out if you haven't already. I recently had the episode with Dominique DaCosta, who was a photographer for Breaking Benjamin as well, and now works with Daughtry. And then I do have another episode that I recorded with our stage manager for Breaking Benjamin, as well as stage manager for Rob Zombie, Steve Warmbier. That one has yet to be edited, but I will get that one out most likely in January. So keep an eye out for that one. But also, this was without a doubt.
Most epic last name ever.
What's that?
It's like the most epic last name ever.
Yeah, it is. Steve Warmbier, and as I've told you, his kids' name are Case Warmbier and Luke Warmbier. Yeah.
Oh my God! Are they? Is that the actual names for real?
Of course, yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah, yeah. Steve's awesome, man. One of the coolest guys I ever met. Immediately, within like a few days of talking to him, I was like, this guy's going to be on the podcast for sure. And turns out he has his own podcast. So if you want to check that one out as well, it's called Warm Beer Cold Pizza, which is a pretty cool name considering his name. Yeah, so that one will be coming out in January. That guy's awesome, man. I do hope to tour with him again sooner than later. But I would say without a doubt, this year has been, it's for sure one of the biggest year I've had for Take Me on Tour. I don't know if it's the biggest year for you, but man, I gained, so many thousands of followers, had so many videos go viral, and things have slowed down since. And a lot of that is due to me just not being consistent enough. And like, once I go on tour, it's like, I just become a zombie who doesn't know how to use my phone properly or something. And I can't keep up with anything, but whenever I am posting it, just, man, the response has just been amazing. I've had some companies reach out, for collaborations and stuff like that. Something I'm just not used to doing. And I know a lot more that happens to you. But yeah, I mean, just pretty cool to see that anybody, liked the page or followed or saw anything I did. So I think your year went pretty well, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, this is a great year. Certainly, certainly my biggest. I did a handful of collaborations with a number of different artists over there, throughout the year, which was pretty cool, to be a part of certain things. I mean, not to sound braggy, but I mean, my favorite, I think the biggest highlight of the year for me was getting to collab with Slipknot. And they sent me the box set that they just came out with, and they sent me a dead crow in a jar, which yeah, you can't. It is on the shelf. It's right next to the pop figure, but it looks like just like a black cup or something. But that's the crow in the jar. So that was super cool to be invited to be a part of that. And I think, I don't know, it was like me and two other creators. So yeah, that was super cool. And I did something with Ghost right before their album came out, which was really cool. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a 180 from what things used to be to what they are now. So I hope next year's just as great, if not greater. And I do appreciate everybody that follows along on my videos. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, it's cool to be a part of stuff like that, and I hope to get there as well. With that's way more interesting than anything I've ever done. And um, just a little story about that whole Slipknot thing is I'm over here telling Logan, like, dude, I've been staring at my computer for like 2 days, man, trying to get this box set, man. There's only like one out of like 2,000 made or something like that, man. And then I was like, I finally got one, man. I spent like $350 on it or whatever the hell I spent. I think it was like 300. And then like he calls me like a week later, dude, you're going to be pissed, man. And I'm like, what happened? They're going to send me one for free.
But yeah, they sent me one, and then I got to give one away. So I did a little giveaway, and yeah, that was super cool. So yeah, they made 1,999 of these. So it is so funny to me that they put this 25th anniversary box set out and all that this year, but it really should have came out last year. 2024 was the 25th anniversary. This is the 26th anniversary. So, but they made like a bigger deal of the 25th anniversary this year. But yeah, that was awesome to be a part of. And yeah, I wish it was I do wish it would have been so cool if it was the blood filled vinyl. This is the blood splatter vinyl. I think the blood filled one though, there was only like, I don't know, 100 or something like that.
Yeah, there was 100 made of that one, and then the rest were all just the one that we got. I would have been pissed if you got a blood filled one, man.
I found out that the crow in a jar, I mean, I don't even know how anybody would have gotten this. I guess on the Slipknot merch website or something, at the very bottom of the page, there was like a little skull. And if you clicked on the skull, it took you to the listing. You could get the crow in the jar. It was free, but there was like 10 of them. But
Whoa.
I don't even know. And I think it was sold out, but I mean, I can't even imagine how people figured that one out. But yeah, they got to that page. And so yeah, these crow in a jars are super, super rare. I mean, probably, well, I think 10, and then me and like two other people. So, I mean, say 15 or less. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, definitely jealous of that one, man. I mean, I want right after I dropped $300 on one, man. I mean, I'm still glad I got one. But yeah, I mean, I wish I was as cool as you to get one for free. But yeah.
Well, I'm about the opposite of cool. But didn't they real quick, I know we're trying to wrap this up, but didn't they come out, or didn't they delay the release of these because like the day they were supposed to go live, Ozzy died? Is that how it went? I think.
Yeah, that's what happened. So the first 100 came out first. Then they announced that there was going to be more. They were supposed to come out that Tuesday. Ozzy died. That didn't happen. They ended up coming out Thursday, a couple of days later. But either way, I'm glad I was able to get one.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. So I seriously, I mean, I almost bought one. Like, I almost bought one, and I decided not to. And then turns out, I guess I didn't need to. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been quite a year, man. I mean, I think it's been a successful year for both of us. I'm excited to see what happens next year. I think every time you start a new year over, you have that, fresh feeling and you don't know what's going to happen. And it's kind of the same with touring. I've always said, the best and worst things about touring is you never know what's going to happen next. And that's the truth. And that's never going to change. I don't know. I could get a call, or a text or email or something for the biggest tour of my life or something, next week. And I could also not get called all year long. And so that's just the way, freelance works and touring works, but I am off to a great start. I'm going to Japan for the first time in February. That's insane to say, with Memphis Mayfire. Thank them and Jerome and Grandview for sending me. I mean, they're the same ones that sent me to Australia, and it's only 2 shows, but to go to Japan, for work, technically, is it's pretty insane to say.
That is far bigger and way cooler than just getting a box set in the mail. Going to Japan is fucking awesome, and something I am definitely very, very jealous of. That is somewhere I would love to go to Japan. So the fact that you get to experience that, man, that is awesome.
Yeah, I don't usually like to say anything, but I have my flight booked. So I actually got it booked yesterday. So the fact that I have a flight booked is, I know for sure it's happening, So it's only 2 shows. One's a festival and one's a headliner. It'll be quick. We're only going to be there for a total of like 3 or 4 days. So I don't know. Hopefully I can do some sightseeing and,
do you know what cities you'll be in?
I know I'm flying into Tokyo. That's all I know. So I don't know where the other show is. You would think I'd look this stuff up, but no, it's just kind of like I just gonna show up, man. That's kind of the best part about being, backline, or drum teching or whatever. Like when you're not tour managing, which I used to do a lot of, just show up, man. They'll show you where everything's at. You just kind of follow where everyone else is going. So I do know I'm flying to Tokyo. It's going to be another 14-hour flight. So it's going to be a long one. So looking forward to that. That's off to a great start. So I'm hoping to have many more opportunities like that in 2026. But it is awesome to say that, my first actual year of drum teching, I go to Australia and Japan within like 8 months of each other or something like that. So it does feel great, man.
That is incredible. And I'm looking forward to the recap. I'm sure you'll do a recap episode when you get back from Japan. So yeah. I am very much looking forward to hearing all about that.
I'll do a recap, and then maybe in 2027, 2028, you'll see the vlog.
Yeah. Well, the recap probably won't come till fucking the tour's in February, and you'll post the recap in September.
Yeah, maybe August if I'm lucky. I know, man.
That'll be awesome, dude. That's a super cool experience.
Yeah. You got anything else before we head out?
That's it, man. At Real Logan Show on all social media and YouTube and all that. And again, I do very grateful for everybody that follows and subscribes and just watches and talks shit to me in the comments and says insults and everything. I do very much appreciate everybody that watches my stuff, watches T-Mot. Very, very grateful. I know it's the generic thing to say, but I do really appreciate it.
No, same here. It wouldn't, none of us would be doing this without anybody paying attention, regardless of what it is. So yeah, check out The Logan Show. Check out Take Me on Tour, the podcast. The rest of the episodes that I mentioned, they're all up on YouTube. They're up on Spotify. They're up on Amazon, anywhere. There's also another channel that's the regular Take Me on Tour channel where you can watch vlogs. Make sure, if you like stuff like this, check out Jamie Josta. He has a Patreon. Check out Steve Warmbeer's podcast, Warm Beer Cold Pizza. Check out Roadie Friday with Jose Escudero and Darren Makins. And there's all sorts of stuff like that out there, man. Stuff that I've never plugged, but if you're into this stuff, that's a good place to start if you like any of this stuff. But thank you guys for watching, listening, anything like that, supporting this whole thing, whether it be me or Logan. And we will see you guys in 2026.